Hi, welcome to Adventures in Bonsai. It's been a while since I've had a video up, a new video, so I took a trip yesterday. We went to the Wigert Bonsai Nursery in North Fort Myers. It's a great place to go if you're ever down in Southwest Florida. It's a nice day trip to take. Beautiful plants, beautiful bonsai, great people working there, good supplies if you need them. It's really worth a trip. So we went there and I bought a small European olive tree, which are the trees that grow the olives in Europe. This is a small one, and we're going to try and make it into a nice little bonsai. We're going to transplant it from the soil that it's in into sphagnum moss. We're going to go over the entire procedure. I'm going to really try and make this a good, complete video that shows you all the aspects of doing this and how easy it is and how beneficial it is for the plants. And I think you'll like it. Now we're going to work this a little bit backwards. First thing I'm going to do is show you the last thing we're going to do in this thing. Let's go take a look and find out about surface moss. Surface moss is the green stuff you'll see on the ground all the time. We're going to go take a look. I'll show you where I found some around my house and how I get it and what I do with it. We'll get that ready, and we'll just talk about getting ready to do a bonsai planting, okay? Okay, hope you're going to have fun. Hold on. This is an area in the front of our house. It has these nice layers of mossy carpet, and I use this tray here and a spatula kind of thing, a scraper, and all I do, let me see if I get a good picture here. Come down here with this. You can go under this stuff and just lift off layers of moss we'll want to use later. But you may as well get it ready now. I got a couple pieces of this, enough to cover the surface, and that should be enough. Maybe one more just to make it safe. That's step one. Okay, so the next thing I do is I come and I take out some of the larger growths that are in this thing, these little weeds, pick them out. Then I take a shower of water, wet these down, especially the backs of them I want to clean off. I want to try and get the soil and the sand off of there, but you don't have to worry about it too much. And as for these little things of weeds, these artillery fern that are growing, you're probably best off just leaving them on for right now and getting to them later and taking care of them after the plant has been planted in the pot. So I'm just going to go and clean these off on the bottom, and we'll get back. Okay, so the moss is kind of ready to go for later, so we're just going to put that away for now. Okay, the next thing I got ready was a bowl. I went and found a bowl that I had made back in 1992 on March 2nd, and it was done on a wheel, I can tell by the shape of it. I like the bowl a lot. It's got great color, great glazing on it. I use these big holes in here for drainage, because sphagnum moss is a material that will take in as much water as it can and then let the rest go that it doesn't need. So this drainage is pretty important for these plants. So you want to have good drainage for your bonsais and sphagnum moss. Now sphagnum moss is a great material for growing plants in. People use it for growing seeds and transplants. This is kind of what it looks like. It's this fluffy stuff. I try not to breathe too much when I'm breaking it apart if there's particulate matter in the air, because you don't want to breathe this stuff in if possible. I've never had a problem with it, working with it for over 20 years, but you have to be careful with it. Now what I do is I just go and I just soak it. Remember, this stuff absorbs probably 10 to 20 times its weight in water. So you just want to get it in there and get it nice and wet and soaking, even if it's soaking in a lot of water here, that'll be fine. And that's how you get the sphagnum moss ready. here's our little nursery plant that we got yesterday. I'm going to pull out some of these weeds. We're going to get rid of them all. The reason I got this plant was I liked the trunk. I liked the feet coming out of the trunk. I like the shape of the trunk. And it looks like it'll make a nice plant once it grows and we allow it to become whatever it wants to become. You can, if you want to, direct its growth by directional pruning, which we'll talk about, or you can just let it grow in a natural state. Basically, you need to prune it a little. It's good for the tree. These trees grow in Europe. They've been around for thousands and thousands of years. They produce olives, but they're also an ornamental tree. They have leaves all year long, which is nice. They grow best in zones 9 to 11 in the United States. I'm a little bit south of that here in Florida where I am. It's a little bit humid here, but I think this will do fine. And the plan here is to take this out of this pot, clean all the roots off completely by washing them with water, which I'm going to show you, and then replanting it in here, and then getting the plant set up. Okay, so let's work on that. Okay, so we're going to take our plant, and the first thing I do is just try to gently remove it out of the pot and take a look at it. Now you can see this plant has really been grown well. You can just tell when you look at this. It's not dry, there's not a ton of roots. This plant has been taken care of at the nursery, and that's what you want to see. And all I do now is I take the hose here and I start to wash away everything. You can see how it just falls away. You can all just shake some of it off. Use your hands in there a little bit. Move the stuff around. Now, if you want to, you can get a little bit braver, and that's fine. I want to change this to a more forceful spray. And this really helps clean the thing out. So you can see the roots now and the structure of the tree a little bit better. And take your time with this and do it well, because the more of the soil you get out, the healthier the plant will be. Soil will be a spot for fungal and bacterial infections. So we want to get rid of that. And we're going to replace it with sphagnum moss, which is a very medicinal material for plants. It's got an acidic base. They like it, they grow well in it, and it keeps them healthy. And the best thing is it's so easy to work with. So this is clearing up pretty good. There's a couple little spots in here I gotta get out. And I'll come back when I'm finished. Okay, so here we have the plant with its roots, pretty well cleaned out. You can't get everything, you know, so don't worry about it. You see little things like a little piece of weed there, you get rid of it. But the thing is, you can see that this plant really was in a great soil. It had pieces of bark in it and not just plain soil. So that's what you want to look for in a nursery, someplace good. And okay, so let's take this and we can work with it now. Okay, so the first thing I do is I see where the plant's going to sit in the bowl. It's going to sit somewhere around here. It's pretty simple. It's round and it should be simple. And then what I do is I take a nice pad of sphagnum moss and put it in here. I need a pad for the bottom. I think I put a little too much in there, but that's okay. We'll get there. Something like so. Then we take the tree and we start to put the sphagnum moss in the empty spaces. You'll see how it goes right in, and a lot of times the tree will hold it as if it were a little crab. And you can put it in the little spots. You put it in as best you can, and don't worry about if you break a root or something. It's not going to hurt it. These roots are going to do great now because they've been taken out of that soil and put into this stuff. And all I'm doing here is making kind of a ball that surrounds and encloses the roots. When I get that together, I take it and I put it in the pot, approximately where I want it. Then I take additional sphagnum moss and I start to put it around the plant and pressing it down firmly And you'll see that it compresses and water will come out of it, which is a good sign. I have to get some more. And remember, the more you compress this and push it, the better it's going to be for the plant. If it's got a nice, healthy base to grow into, the roots, it's going to be healthier and look better and stay good. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of like pushing this down to get it to where I want to be able to see what I want to see on. See, I know I had a nice root coming out over here. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a little root there. I want to be able to see that. I want to push all this other stuff down. And you'll be able to take your time with this more. And I urge you to take your time and enjoy it. It's fun. It's a fun hobby. So I'm getting there where this stuff is down. And it's pretty flat and it looks pretty good to me. And I have this nice surface root I want coming out here. This will look good later. Okay, I think I'm done putting it into the pot. It's pretty simple, isn't it? Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the shape of the plant, what we want to do with it, and how we want it to look. And this plant is really just kind of just starting out, and I really kind of just want to let it grow and see what happens. What I may want to do is just take out some of these branches here that don't allow me to see in so well, or I can just let them grow now, and then once they develop more, figure out what I want to cut with them, what I want to do. I mean, there's some stuff like this little dead stuff here you can cut off. If you see dead areas, it's a good idea to get rid of them because they're not really healthy for the plant. But other than that, there's really very little I want to do with this. It's growing, the leaves are turning color, they're looking greener. We're in the middle of the beginning of spring, and this plant will come back, and I see little things here and there that can be cut off that will eventually make it look more tree-like and better. Okay, so I mean, I want this stuff to grow, and once it grows, we'll see what it looks like, and then we'll trim it better. Okay, we're going to start putting some of the surface moss on. Surface moss is a bryophyte. That means that it doesn't really have roots, and it gets water from being watered on top, and that's fine. I'm just trying to pick out some of the little weeds that are in here. This is called artillery fern. It's terrible. You can never really get rid of it. As soon as you pick it, it drops new seeds. What I'm doing here is going to lay a piece down. I'm going to push it in so that I see water coming out of it. When I do that, I know it's got good contact with the sphagnum moss underneath it. And all I've got to do now is take another piece. And it's very easy to edit these pieces. You know, you just put them in. If you want another piece, you take the piece the right size and put it in. But it's amazing how this gives it a nice look of grassy area that the tree is growing in. So all I'm doing here is just putting moss down, pushing it in. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go around the sides and push this in a little bit. Sometimes I'll use a rounded one of these on round pots, which makes sense, but I can go around like this. It just gives it a better overall appearance. Then I'm going to go and trim off these little excessive pieces out here. And now I'm just going to clean the pot off a little. And there we have it. A nice little tree. simple, it's easy, it's fun, and it works. So now I'm going to show you a little bit about how you care for these plants. So hang in there for a minute. Now the care of these plants, because they're in sphagnum moss, which has very little nutrients in it, they need to be fertilized on a regular basis. Once every 2 weeks to a month at least, I would say. And what I do when I fertilize it, I use half strength of Miracle Grow. And I also use something called a super, oh look at this bee going down our tree here. Can you see him? It's a fly, I think. I'm not sure what it was. Anyway, it was interesting. And I also use something called Super Bee Thrive. You put like a drop in with a gallon of water. And those really seem to help it. The trick is to do it on a regular basis so plants get used to it. And you'll be fine with it. Now this is a plant that's been around for a little while. It's some kind of ficus, maybe even a strangler fig, I'm not sure. But I noticed this little piece here coming down and settling in here, which is good. But I'm going to show you what happens. The easy thing about this system is to take this plant out, I just do this. And all I have to do, if I want to repot it, and this here needs some repotting. There's a bunch of roots here. It's not too bad. But I'll take off approximately quarter, half inch, and just saw through it with a Ginsu knife. These were very popular in the 70s and 80s. They're great. They never seem to wear out. And all I do then, now that I've cut it, I just take a new pad of sphagnum moss, put it in the pot, put it back in, squeeze it in. But I did see this piece here hanging down. I don't know if you can see this or not. It's a little it's like one of these strangler branches coming down. So I'm just going to pop it into a spot here with the sphagnum moss. And hopefully it should thicken up, and be a very nice root coming out here off the side. And it's that simple for repotting these things when you need it. It's very easy to look and to see what's going on. And as you watch these over the years, the sphagnum moss will eventually change into peat moss, because that's what happens. As it deteriorates, it becomes what we know as peat moss. It becomes dark and black. And when it gets to that point, you want to get rid of it. You want to take this out, wash that stuff out, and replant it completely in some new sphagnum moss. So it's a pretty simple system, works well. Let's get back here, this one here. So we have our tree that we finished, and if you have any questions about this, there is a book I put out called the Sphagnum Moss Bonsai Method, an illustrated handbook. It was published by McFarland. It's still available, and it gives you step-by-step treatment of how to do this with pictures, and you may want to take a look at that if you get a chance. But I hope this was educational for you, and you got to look at this and see how simple and easy this system is. And I hope your plants are doing well. And I'll try to make some more videos and bring you up to speed on this stuff. Okay, well, have a great day. Have fun with your bonsai.